Welcome back, 3D students. In this video, we're going to build a material that includes what's called a texture. And a texture is just a picture of a real-world material, such as concrete or brick or stone. And this can obviously give us added realism to our scenes. The challenging part of using textures is finding them. You can create your own, but that requires some knowledge that we're not going to have time to accumulate. Or you can get textures from the web. One of the sites that I like to use is called Polyhaven. And if you go to Polyhaven, if you hover over the Assets tab here, you'll see they have HDRIs, which are background images, which we could put in our scene instead of the gradient that we use. We could put one of these in there. Textures, which are pre-made textures. And models, which are actual mesh objects that you can use to dress up your scene. So what we're concerned with right now is textures. So let's go there. Now when you click on a texture, like say this metal plate texture here, you'll be taken to a page. And the page will show you a preview of the material, the texture I mean, on a material. And it will also show you, if you can click this little 3D button here, it will show you a 3D version. In other words, you can rotate around it, see how the light affects it. And it gives you a couple of different preview thumbnails here. It'll show you the picture that it was created from. And then it will show you all of these things here. Now, each one of these are texture maps that are used to be connected to all of the different nodes in your material. Right here. We don't use all of them, but there's probably 6 or 8 that we will use. So I'm going to put a material on my pedestal here. And why not start with this metal plate? So the first thing I'm going to do is come over here to this big purple button, and this is the download button. This is the resolution of the material. The default is 4K. I don't need that. I'm going to use 2K. This is the type of download. This is a Blender symbol. We don't use Blender. And I don't know what this one is, but we're just going to get a zipped folder. And the zipped folder will contain these images. Now, this is what you're going to download. So I don't want the Blender, and I don't want that one. I don't think I need the AO. I do want the roughness and the metal, the diffuse, displacement, the metal, and there's 2 different kinds of normal maps. Let's just uncheck the DX and a roughness map. Once you've got all that selected, click download, and it'll ask you where you want to put it. I'm going to put it in my downloads folder, and I'm going to click save. Now once that's finished downloading, Chrome will pop up a little window here, and it will show me where they are. I can either open that folder or I can go to the location where it is. I'm going to click the location icon, and that brings up a little File Explorer window, and it shows me here's the folder you downloaded. So to get inside this folder and get to the images, I need to double click it, and then I need to open this folder that's inside of it that's called Textures, and here are the images that I need. So I'm going to hide this Chrome window here. Now that I've got this open, I should be able to just select all of these and drag them into my material editor. But see, it's not letting me. That's because this is a folder that has not been expanded yet. So I need to put these images in the correct place inside my project folder structure. So I need to open up another Explorer window. To do that, you hit Control-N on your keyboard, and that opens up 2 Explorer windows. Then I'm going to go to my project folder. Remember, we made a 3D MA folder for our class, and here's the project folder we created. And inside that is a folder called Scene Assets. Open that one, and open the Images folder. This is where you should put all textures that you use in your project. So now that I have that done, I can select all of these and drag them into that folder. Now I can close this window. And this is the project folder with Scene Assets images. So let's see if we can drag them in there now. We can. And when you drag them in there, they appear just like this. So let's create a new material to connect them to. Let's get physical material and drag it out into the slate. I'm going to zoom out a little bit using my mouse wheel. Select all of these and move them over because we need to move them around a little bit. And I'm going to take this material and apply it to my base. So my recording crashed, but what I was doing while the recording wasn't recording was I was rearranging these. You can click on each one and see the name of the file right here in its little abbreviation. This is the displacement map here, so I'm going to connect that one to the displacement node, which is right there. This one is the normal map, and it needs to be connected to the bump node, which is right here, but we can't connect it directly. We need to drag off of the bump map node, go to General, Normal Bump, and then we need to connect that to the normal map node here. And you can clearly see that we've already got something happening. What these two maps do is they give the texture depth. And you can see they're already working on the geometry to give it some depth here. And this one here, if you look at the name, this is the diffuse map, and it is connected to the base color node, which is right here. And this one is the roughness map, and the roughness node is right here. And this one is the metal, and the metalness is right here. This one is, I don't know what that one is, so we're just not going to use it. Now when you're working on these things, you have a little preview swatch right here. You can double click on that to make it bigger so you can see what it looks like. And mine looks like it's just in a lot of shadow here, so I'm going to expand my viewport. So I'm going to go ahead and close the material editor. I don't think I need it right now. And I'm going to hit Alt-W to expand my viewports. And I'm going to take my direct light. I'm going to move it around so I can get a different view of that material. It's still very dark. So let me go to the exposure control. And remember I adjusted this earlier. I'm going to increase the brightness a little bit. There we go. Now this material here doesn't look quite right. The plates to me look kind of small. So I would like to adjust how this is projected onto this cube here. To do that, the best thing to do is use something called a UVW map. So to apply that, you click on your object and you go to the Modify tab. You click the modifier list. There's a whole bunch of things in here, and what we want is UVW map right here. Now if your texture looks fine, you don't have to do this. But when I click that, you can see it immediately affects the texture. I need to select the proper type of map. Since this is a box, I'm going to select box. And you can see I now have it looking normal again. But what I need to adjust is the tiling. So let's try adjusting the U tiling. And that is not the correct direction. I'm going to turn off this active shade for a minute. That's what I need. I need to go the other way. And you can clearly see I get a nice, I get the exact look I'm looking for here. And let's go back to active shade. And there you go. You have to play around with which tiling you need to adjust, but that's how you do that. Now if I was applying it to a cylinder, then I would choose cylindrical. Or if it was a sphere, I would choose spherical. Now once that's done, I can reframe my shot. I'm going to turn off active shade while I'm framing my shot. And render either using the teapot button here or F9 on your keyboard. And I'm going to turn on active shade in this window now so that I can use my navigation tools to frame my shot. Once we let it render, this green bar has to complete. Now it's finished rendering. You can save this image and upload it to the assignment. All you need to do that is click File, Save Image, pick a location like your desktop, or you can put it in your 3D MA folder and name it something, and click Save. And now we can close these, save our project, and we're done with our very first assignment in 3D Studio Max. Here is the image I just generated, and I can take this image file, which is a JPEG, and I can upload it to Canvas to this assignment. Hope you enjoyed this little project, and I look forward to many more with you in this class, and I'll see you in the next one.